A brave and mighty man, from Judges 6 and 7. The people of Israel turned their back on God, and they forgot the laws of love and justice they had been given. So it was that God let the people of Midian rule over them. These were fierce people of the desert, raiders and plunderers. They rode on camels and came swooping down on the Israelites, destroying their crops and stealing their flocks. The people of Israel cried to God for help. "Why do we have to suffer in this way?" wondered a young Israelite named Gideon. He was hard at work, threshing grain within the walls of a tiny winepress, hoping that the Midianites would not see that he had grain worth stealing. A stranger appeared. "The Lord is with you," was the stranger's greeting. "How can you say that?" snorted Gideon. "If the Lord is with us, why are these Midianites tormenting us so? In days gone by, the Lord brought our people out of Egypt where we were slaves. Now we are abandoned to our enemies." "You go and rescue your people," came the reply. "I, the Lord, will help you, and you will crush them as easily as if they were just one man." Gideon was unsure, but then the stranger miraculously called down fire. Gideon knew that the one speaking to him was God, and that he must do as the Lord commanded him. With calm and determination, Gideon re-established the worship of the God of Israel. The people of Israel reunited as faithful worshippers of their God. The enemies of Israel were afraid and met together, the Midianites, the Amalekites, and other tribes who lived in the wilderness beyond the river Jordan. They made a plan to cross into the land of Canaan and defeat the Israelites. Meanwhile, Gideon had boldly taken charge. He arranged for messengers to go out to all the tribes asking for volunteers to come and join his army. Gideon firmly believed that God was leading him, yet as he reflected on the task that lay ahead, he was filled with anxiety. "You say you want to rescue Israel," he argued with God, "but can I be sure I have heard you right? Look, I'm putting some wool down on the ground at a place where we thresh the wheat. If in the morning there is dew on the fleece, but not on the ground, then I will know that you are indeed telling me to rescue my people." In the morning, Gideon found dew on the wool, just as he had asked. He picked it up and squeezed it. The water trickled through his hands, enough to fill a bowl. Gideon looked, and he paused. "Don't be angry," he said to God, "but please may I ask for one more sign? This time, when I leave the wool out overnight, may I find the wool dry and the ground wet with dew?" It was done. With new courage, Gideon led his men to a place where they would see the Midianite camp. Men were swarming like locusts on the plain, and there were camels too numerous to count. As he looked, he heard God saying that he himself did not need so large an army. He must announce that any who wanted could return home. 22,000 men left, and 10,000 stayed. "You still have too many soldiers," said God. "So this time take them to the stream to drink. Separate those who lap the water with their tongues from those who kneel down to drink, and send them home." Gideon was left with just 300 men. That night Gideon divided his men into 3 groups, and each man had a trumpet and a jar that concealed the light of a torch burning within. He ordered the soldiers to creep to the edge of the camp and wait for his sign before they went into action. It was a little before midnight. The enemy has just changed guard, and the soldiers now on duty were nervously surveying the scene. Gideon's men swung into action. They blew a wild and terrifying blast on their trumpets, then smashed their jars and waved their torches high above their heads. The enemy panicked. Some fought one another. The rest ran away. Gideon drove the Midianites out of the land, and his people lived in peace for 40 years until he died.
The end.